everybody, and welcome to Mustache You A Question, which is a really fun show that normally gives you the point of view of the retailer, me, and the point of view of a publisher, which is usually James Hake of Scout. But he is so busy doing comic book things and talking to Hollywood and all those things. He is, in the last month or so, been kind of like hard to nail down. So, and that's fine because it gives us opportunity to try something different. And since I'm having the best hair day ever, I'm going to bring a good friend of mine on, and we're going to talk about, instead of publishing and retailing from the point of view of like for comic books this week in stores, we're going to talk to you a little bit about the convention circuit, because that's what's going on right now. It's in full swing. And my buddy knows a lot about convention stuff. So I'm going to bring on Kyle Northrup.
Is the hair, you're having a good hair day? Do you want me to take my head off? Like, is this more comfortable? Like if I'm having a no hair day?
I don't know who you are now. What'd you do with Kyle?
Right. No, now my head is cold. Much better.
No lie. My friend Hannah always wears a hat. And there was a short amount of time when she was kind of like trying out new things and would come into the store with no hat on. And we have a friend in common who also has a problem with when things are not the same, and literally kind of freaked out a little bit and had to go around the corner when Hannah didn't have her hat on. So Hannah had to go find a hat. No, Kyle is allowed. Of course it's Henri. We love Henri. And we love Shoop.
His timing is just perfect. Anyway, well, it's funny. I remember the first time Hannah came on Minute to Skim It and didn't have a hat on. And I'm like, wait, what is happening right now? Because that was not something I was prepared for mentally. So, but I'm getting away from wearing a hat as much.
Yeah?
Well, so the reason I always wore a hat is because I hated shaving my head. So I could let my hair grow a lot longer and just keep it under the hat, and nobody would know exactly how bald I was. But do you guys know that trend? TikTok made me buy it. So that on TikTok you get ads, and a lot of times they're for like Amazon products you didn't know you needed. Well, one of the ads I kept seeing was for Skull Shaver. This is not a paid endorsement for Skull Shaver, but I kept seeing it, and I kept going, man, that makes it look way easier. So I'm watching a video on YouTube from one of my friends who's a pro wrestler, and Skull Shaver ad, and they're having a sale, so I bought one. And oh my gosh, it's so easy to shave my head now. I'm going to wear a hat a lot less and just be like, see, I'm bald.
Well, I mean, it used to be kind of a weird thing to be bald, but now it's kind of the way to go.
Right. And I've been spending the last six or 8 months reconfiguring my facial hair configuration. So like I'm about ready to debut the new facial hair configuration.
Bald is beautiful.
Bald with a brand new face hair thing, you know.
I actually finally talked my husband into going bald, which has been my goal since the very beginning, since my secret pretend husband boyfriends are like Ming the Merciless and Professor X. So you can see a theme here. So I finally talked him into it. He shaved his head. This was during pandemic. And I loved it because he had like kind of a gruffy beard and he just looked boss. He looked like, I don't know, but his employees told him he was scary looking and looked like a biker like dude, which is weird because he's like a professional oil and gas guy. So he gave in and grew his hair back, which I was sad about.
I think Mike would look weird without hair. Like, I'll be honest. Like, he's like Hannah without a hat. If I saw Mike without his kind of, you know, dad hair, I'd freak out a little bit. Joey, I do not use beard templates, but I do use historical reference guides.
Oh, there you go.
No, I was not looking at Victorian beard styles the other day. Not at all.
All right, so we decided we're going to talk about, or I decided, I did not consult you in any way. I apologize. About the point of view, POV, for conventions right now, from the point of view of me, retailer, and you, kind of retailer, kind of, host,
Yeah, I'm
man
in a
about
weird spot
town.
in
I
the
don't
business.
know what to call you. You're everything.
Right. I'm kind of in a weird spot in the business right now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm part retailer because I do still have inventory that I sell at conventions as a dealer and as a retailer. But I'm also the executive producer of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So my job is as a cheerleader for that. But also, like, I do a fair number of conventions where my non-incorporated, I really should trademark this business, Booth Bro Inc., which is where I show up and just work other people's booths as a
Mm-hmm.
helper or as a, oh, you need to go have a cigarette. I will sit here and pretend to be you kind of person. So, I do a lot of conventions that way too. So it just winds up being an interesting kind of, I get to see all the sides.
Mm-hmm. So describe conventions right now from the point of view of Booth Bro.
From the point of view as somebody who's just showing up as a fan and helping other people out, it's the wild, wild west, man. Like, and I say this because everything is so yes. I am often the pretzel delivery service. I am Uber Eats of the convention. If you need a pretzel, I will bring it to you, but you have to buy me one in exchange. But no, it's every convention is so dictated by their regional setup.
Their culture.
Well, like San Diego was a masks required convention, but Motor City was not. That kind of stuff. So it's an interesting, you know, interesting kind of thing that you have to really pay attention when you're going to a convention so that you don't get there and you're not hung out to dry or you're not taken aback by whatever the requirements are.
Sure.
So like I'm looking at the next big show I'm doing is Baltimore.
Okay.
And I'm looking at Baltimore going, okay, what do I think those requirements are going to be? And as I talk to my friends that I'm going to be helping and that kind of stuff, how do we make this all work?
Right.
So it's just a lot more planning than it used to be. It used to be show up and see what happens.
I was very happy about San Diego because they had put into place the, like, you had to have like the wristband proving that you had been inoculated or been tested recently as negative and had masks on all the time. And everyone seemed to be 100% chill about all that stuff, and it made it a very pleasant place to go and be because there was no drama about it. People were like, I just want to be at a convention, yo, I'll do whatever it takes.
Right. I mean, in like New York last year, there was like 2 or 3 stories of people who were like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing that. And they got escorted out or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was over. But everybody seemed pretty chill at New York. And from my understanding, C2E2 is largely the same.
Mm-hmm.
They had their rules and everybody seemed to follow them. And the few people who didn't just kind of went away quietly. So
What's weird is that as a community of comic book people, the idea of wearing a mask should not be very foreign because we like to cosplay. So just like we're cosplaying is people trying to avoid getting, you know.
well, but like not everybody can cosplay as Sub-Zero where it makes total sense. I mean, that was like I thought about when I used to be in much better shape than I am now. I would cosplay as Bane.
Yes.
I'm not in good enough shape now to do it, but I thought about trying to get back in shape to cosplay as Bane just for the mask.
There you go.
That's a lot of work. Who needs that much time in the gym?
Yeah.
I could eat pizza or I could go to the gym. I'll take pizza.
The other thing I've kind of noticed about conventions right now is that you've got this weird dichotomy, right? We're finally getting out and finally getting to shop, which is why I go to conventions. I like looking at stuff. But also, we're right on top of this crazy R named thing called recession. So it's what I've kind of seen. this is bizarre, is that I saw a lot of high-end buying. I don't know if people are like, the stock market's crappy, so I'm going to put it into something that historically has always done well over time. Uh, or just maybe more people became like serious collectors over the pandemic. I'm not 100% certain. But yeah, it's less likely to be people digging through $2 boxes and more likely, can I see that Hulk 181 on your wall, and being serious about asking about seeing it. I don't know. Did you see that at conventions you went to?
I have. And it's interesting because, like, you and I have talked about this. When I was doing conventions pre-pandemic, I would set up 60 short boxes, books 3 for $5.
Yeah.
Right. And now I take 4 short boxes, and the cheapest book I have is $100.
Yep.
Like, it's a different buyer's market, because I do think people are understanding that always going up thing, even if you can't always get out. And the example I have is that I have a couple of AF-15s in my collection. Those always go up. Now, could I get out of them what they're worth at the moment? No. But they're always going up.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, is it better to own that and have it always go up, or to buy a bunch of $2 books and hope one of them pops for 20? You know, it's a speculation game, really. But the thing I'm seeing is that people know what they want, they know what the keys are, they know what the important books are, and they're willing to spend the money on them because they recognize that they're going to get what they love. And if someday what they love needs to also make them a mortgage payment, they can do that.
That's so true. Hi, Jay. Welcome.
There's this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a free book that you can buy, or you can find. And Joey, my answer is always TMNT number 1. Not a hotkey right now, just a hotkey always. But anyway, with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it talks about breaking down your financial decisions in ways that will make more sense long term. So it's, if a house is not an asset, it's a liability. But if you buy a house and rent it, it's both. And so you can turn your assets into liabilities and your liabilities into assets. And so if you want to buy a Maserati, buy a house that you can rent to someone and then use the money from the rental to pay for the Maserati. And I'm using that as a real high-end example, but for me, it's if I want to buy an Amazing Spider-Man number 1, well, maybe I'll buy a TMNT number 4 and then wait 6 months and sell it, and put that money towards, keep flipping my inventory around, working towards my goal of owning 1 book.
Yeah. And Joey, another good answer to that question is just to keep shopping around and kind of know what the price point of any known key or minor key is kind of marketing for. And if you find it at some good percentage below that in the condition that you like, I say always, if you have the money and you're looking to invest, that's the time, because any good hot key or minor key is probably going to be grabbed up fairly immediately if it's at a decent price. So you cannot be like at the booth and be like, I'm going to think about this. Because when you walk away, the person that was standing behind you that saw you poke at it, who would have maybe never noticed it before. I've seen this happen where someone's just standing there looking at other stuff and someone says, how much is that thing? And then it gets shown to them. They're like, I'm going to think about it. And then as soon as they walk away, the person that's standing there says, can I also see that thing? I will take it. Because it's just like antiques, right? The best time to buy an antique is when you see it. Because
Right.
you're not going to find another one. But this one's a little bit different because you might find it again. But
I don't like Key Collector because it's not generally an accurate representation of the actual market. It's a representation of the speculator market. I mean, it's a good tool to have, don't get me wrong, but it often says that new books are worth a lot of money when they're not. They're worth the paper they're printed on, because in a year they're not going to be worth anything.
Mhm.
So the key is actually just building a good base of knowledge, knowing what keys are, knowing what good books are. For instance, I said TMNT number one. Well, TMNT number one is, one of those that everybody can remember, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Or Fantastic 448 or Hulk 180. It's having a kind of a base knowledge of what good keys are, and then just kind of monitoring what the market is on them. I never don't know what ASM 50 is going for. Right? Like, just because that's one of those books that I constantly am buying and selling. Sandman 1 and 8 are great examples, right? Like, I sold Sandman number one 4 years ago for a third of what I could sell it for now.
Yep.
But what Key Collector says it's worth at the moment isn't what it's actually worth, because when the spec heat comes off of it, it's going to normalize at $300, $400.
I always feel like the apps are almost like when I'll give you a good equal thing here. For gas stations, when they price the gas that you're buying, you're actually paying the price for what they believe they're going to have to pay for the next round of gas they're buying. Okay. And I feel like the apps are like that. I feel like they're looking forward a little bit for what a book will be worth, or they speculate or hope that something's going to be worth. And you can get bit real bad by that. I think a better indicator is the old tried and true, looking up lowest price first in the condition you're seeing on eBay, because that market is like up to date all the time. I mean, it
Right.
really is like what a common man is willing to pay for this book, and you can see exactly what it sold for the last month, and what it sold for yesterday, and what one's being auctioned for right now, and make a good decision based on that.
One that I like when I'm dealing with slabs is Go Collect. Because it's literally just tracking eBay sales. And it's talking about what people are actually paying, not what people are asking. I'm making an example. I have the Kevin Eastman exclusive Haunted Highons number one. Right here next to my desk. Signed by Twisted, Dirk Manning, and Kevin Eastman. I can ask $1 billion for that book. That ain't what that book's worth. Mm-hmm. You have to track what people are actually paying for a book, not what people are asking, which is a hard thing to do, but it's an important part. And what's cool about Go Collect is they have records and stuff too. So you can actually see more collectibles than just comics if you pay for their service. Mm-hmm. But no, I see people spending money on things they want if they can see the value in them more than they used to. I can remember going to conventions and hunting. Yeah. I'll never forget, it was a C2E2. We were looking for ASM 50, first appearance for Red Sonja, ASM, whatever number that was, I can't remember now, and first Green Goblin. And I'm blanking on my numbers right now just because I'm trying to do it off the top of my head. And I remember finding them all at one booth and having the guy bring them all over to me and playing that game with my friends who are going in on these with me, going, okay, we can buy them now or we can wait. If we wait, we might not ever be able to get them again because he might sell them, or we might be able to come back and get them for a little less. And my friends are like, let's just get them. So we were able to negotiate with the guy and come to a price. And I was more happy having my book than having saved a few bucks. Yeah. So I think that's the mentality more people are going in with.
And also, it has a little bit to do with like who you're buying them from, right? If you're buying them from a trustworthy source, so you don't have to go through every single page and make sure there's not stuff missing. If they say, like you ask them, is the the Marvel stamp cut out? No, it's not cut out, because I know that a lot of dealers are reticent to open up a very expensive book during a convention where your conditions aren't ideal for control.
Right. I will pay more from a dealer I know and have done business with in the past who I know has checked all that stuff before
Yeah.
than I will I will pay more for a book from one of them than I would from somebody else. And at the same point, I will pay over market from one of those people if I know that what I'm getting is 100% what it claims to be. There's a good example. I do a lot of business with a certain consular who Jen and I both know. He's a former retailer, still kind of a retailer, but he's very active on the internet and he's very funny. Do a lot of business with him because I know that if I'm buying a silver or golden age book from him, that he's done the work of making sure it's complete and that it's right.
Yep.
And that his price, while it may be 10% higher than I think it should be, I'm paying for the guarantee.
Yeah.
I also know that when he ships it to me, it's going to come packed like it could be rolled over by an Abrams tank. And, I know what I'm getting. I would pay more for a known commodity. I would pay more than market for a known commodity than I would pay for an unknown commodity.
Yeah. He's also known as a stickler. So if he has high expectations of other people,
Right.
My experience with him is that it also transfers to, hit what he's selling. I'll give you an example of dealing with him. I walked by his booth at New York Comic Con and said hi, because that's all I was doing, is just saying hi. And my eyes went over a piece of original art, and he just picked it up off the wall and gave me a price I could not refuse. It was
Right.
a huge discount off what was on it. And I have never regretted buying that piece.
Right. And what's funny is I just bought a book from him yesterday.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. On a swapity-doo. I'm shipping him 3 books and he's shipping me 1. But it it's a good deal. I'm going to own a key I've never owned.
All right, JD's asking a really hard question here. How easy is it to produce a fake pro-graded comic? Like show as an 8, but inside the cover it's really a 4. It's not that hard to crack one. It's hard to produce a cracked one that has a matching CGC code. It's easy to go back and check on them because all of the CGC codes are registered and have all the information and grading notes on them. So it should be easy to look that up, especially you do that if it's an especially expensive book.
Right. It's like impossible to fake a pro-graded book because there are so many checks and balances. Right? Am I breaking?
A little bit.
I can see my internet is going with this.
It's being poopy.
Yes. So it's like impossible to fake because real people who know are going to do the checks, right? They're going to pull the codes, they're going to scan it, they're going to look at the notes, they're going to look at all the things. Could you buy a encapsulation kit, make something and put on your own wall and have it look good? Sure. But if you're doing business, it's really hard. Now, I will say this. I quite like something that CBCS does, which is the checkmark system.
Yeah.
So what they will do is they will say this book presents as an 8, but it's actually a 4. Which is the cover is really nice, but it's missing 2 pages.
Yeah.
Or something. Like it looks really nice, but it's not. Which I think is a good stepping stone in the business of grading. To say this is what it looks like, but this is the thing you don't know.
Yeah. All right, it's time for us to wrap it up by doing our must ask you question, which usually has nothing to do with comic books necessarily at all, but just regular get to know you questions. So, okay, I know something about you that people might find interesting. that you are in fact a trivia whiz. So other than your very nearly successful runs to get on Jeopardy, what other trivia things have you conquered?
So yes, I like your answer, JD. I appreciate that. My goal is only always a 7. So yeah, I've successfully auditioned for Jeopardy twice. I've passed the test more times than that. I at one point was the 6th ranked Sporkle Live bar trivia. Sporkle's a national company, like you can play it in almost every city, but they do live pub trivia every night of the week, basically. I was the 6th ranked player in the country at one point, playing by myself, which was super fun. But my favorite trivia story, and it brings it back around to comic books, is I once won $500 in pizza gift certificates. So keep in mind, well, not real money, $500 in pizza gift certificates by knowing the Giants Causeway as a land formation of rock in in Ireland because of the movie Hellboy.
Nerd knowledge for the win.
I was the only person who knew that place, and because of Hellboy.
Oh, do you have a best and worst topics? JD wants to know for your trivia.
I'm real bad at like chemistry, and I'm real good at sports and history. Also music.
Mm-hmm.
Like my trivia base is really well rounded, but like when you get specific questions, like they used to like to ask questions about which element on the periodic table, blah blah blah, and I'm like, I don't know, argon, and it's never argon. My actual trivia goal is to get on that show, The Chase.
There you go. I would watch the crap out of that.
That would be.
I want you to go up against the Beast. I don't know if I like the new formula as much.
In the old days, the guy who was the Beast on The Chase would play. There was a big trivia quiz online that you could play. You would go in and you'd play a quiz a day, and anybody in the world could log in and play the same quiz. And routinely, he would be number 1 and I would be number 2, or I would be number 1 and he would be number 2. And then Ken Jennings started playing, and we both started coming in third. Like, it got ugly there after a little while, and then it stopped because, people stopped wanting to pay for it. So,
poop.
Yeah, but it was a good time. Like I really enjoy playing trivia and doing trivia questions, doing trivia games, but very few people want to play with me anymore.
They don't like to feel the burn of utter defeat.
Right. They either want to be on my team and then get angry when I tell them they're wrong, or they don't want to play against me. So it gets frustrating. So I had to stop playing for a long time.
And my answer to that question is I have no appreciable trivia skills because my husband and I become old people and watch Jeopardy at night. But I'm really, really, really remarkably good at guessing the Final Jeopardy answer. I'm pretty good at it. If I make a guess, I'm often right.
It's true, Joey. I am the worst kind of smart person. Like, all right, Ship, you're on. We will find a place to play a trivia game together. But no, like that's the other thing, right, about trivia that's interesting is that you never stop learning trivia.
No.
Your base changes. So like I just went through a period where I spent a lot of time learning trivia about the 6 presidents between Lincoln and Roosevelt, who technically don't qualify for either political party anymore. And so I learned all of this useless trivia about that. And I forgot important things like, how to figure out the tip on a check at a restaurant.
I don't know. I suspect Ship is secretly super smart.
Oh, no. Ship and I can go round and round on stuff. It's pretty fun. So, Ship, I challenge you to a duel of British maritime law. So, no, but I love trivia.
All right, that was nice. We have run out of time, and I got to get back to selling toys. Thank you so much, Kyle, for being willing to pitch hit. Thank you so much, Joey, for being in the background.
Sorry, my mustache doesn't do what James does.
And I plucked my hair, so I don't really have one rolling right now.
Joey, it's the laws regarding boats in England.
Like, I said not to ask that question, right, and that's what I said.
That would be boring but fun, right? Nobody wants to hear this. Just Ship and I.
And that's like it's going to take a whole other hour for that answer to come out of Kyle.
No, that's the answer. It's boats in England, bro.
All right. To that end, thank you guys so much for being here in the middle of the day. I know it's kind of right in the middle of the workday for a lot of you guys. And thank you so much. You guys have been really great about sharing out the show and subscribing and recommending us to your friends. We love you guys for that. We have no idea if what we're doing is helpful unless we see viewership grow. So help us with that. If you know some people you think might benefit from these shows, that would be awesome. All right, everybody. We'll see you guys next week for Mustache You Question, and hopefully I can get Hake to tell us all the things he's been making deals for in Hollywood. It's always my total goal to make him spill beans he's not supposed to spill. As in every single interview I do, that's always my goal. And I will see you guys next week. Bye, y'all.